Now, who did you marry? Did you marry a local boy from here, or?
Don't get me started on that, because I could really go. I married a wonderful man. He died too young. Bob came up here in the CCs after a train wreck. A train hit him, and so he was incapacitated. In fact, he recuperated at his father's house, who was a doctor, for a couple of 3 years, and a divorce in the meantime. And so that was very discouraging. Bob was very low when I met him here. But he came here as a CC boy. He went away as vice president of the New Mexico, the First National Bank of Truth and Consequences. In between, he went to war. He was in combat 18 months. He received both the Silver and Bronze Star. So he had quite a life, but he didn't live long enough. But that's God's wishes, so here we are.
And you have helped write a book about his time. Wasn't he? And what units was he? He was in Europe. Is that correct? Was he in Europe with the units over there?
He was with the 83rd Chemical Mortar Battalion. They went in Italy and came out in Australia. They had all the way up Italy and all the way up France.
And Austria is where they...
And then into Austria. They were over there 3 years. The boys that were with the 83rd, with the 45th Division, which was the New Mexico Division, and they were over there without any leave or coming home ever so often. They stayed. Bob was a replacement at Onshill, so he only had 2 years. But that was enough.
That was enough. That's right.
Bob wanted to do it, so that was...
And so when he came back, then what businesses did you have here in Hot Springs at that time?
Well, Bob was a fisherman and a hunter, and he loved the people here, and we had sold our business before. We were free, and so we just decided we'd come back to New Mexico, or to Hot Springs as it was at that time. So, and we lived at the lake for 10 years because we couldn't find a place here in town.
So was there that kind of an explosion in population here, or were they not being able
During
to...
the war, right after the war, everybody came back. We couldn't find a place to rent or to buy because he was late getting home. And we found this place on Hot Springs Landing, an elderly couple that wanted to go back to Massachusetts. And they said, if you want it, here it is. Even the salt in the salt shaker and the sheets on the beds. It was as clean as you couldn't have a cleaner place. And we have a dog and 2 cats. If you'd like to have them, you can have them too. If you're ready to move in, and we're ready to move out. And that's all there was to it. And we lived there 10 years. We had fine neighbors, and we loved it. But it's not like it is now.
Yeah.
We were the only ones that had the windmill.
Out there at Hot Springs Landing.
Yeah.
Did you pump the water from the... Did you have a well there that you...
We had a well.
And do you remember how deep the well was out there?
They had to go... Walter Johnson and the boys went on down after we moved out there. We weren't getting... The lake was going down, and we were getting lake water, as it went down. And they went down to get permanent water. It was 300 feet, I think.
Oh, wow. And about what you said, that had to have been after the war, so you were out there from what, about 1945 to 1955?
59. We were there 47. Bub didn't get out of the service until later. 47. Am I saying right?
Mm-hmm. He could have stayed longer.
It was a big in 47.
Mm-hmm. So you were out there then until 57 to 59, somewhere in there.
He won
You were out. You lived out there then from 47 to the late
59. We were still living there. I elected to move to town when Bob died. I didn't.
Mm-hmm. Were you working at that time? Did you work in town and drive back and forth?
We had the Valley Motor Supply. Bob didn't know what he wanted to do, and he decided to go back to school. And we were in Albuquerque. He was going back to school. He hadn't finished, and so we came home one time, and Cecil propositioned him to take the Valley Motor Supply, and so we bought it from my brother.
And what was was Bob going to school at New Mexico State or UNM?
Yeah, no, he was going to university.
UNM.
His sister was there. We were living in a town.
Uh-huh.
And then after Bob died, then's when I built my home here.
Mm-hmm. What businesses beside the Valley Motor, which was that in parts for vehicles, because the Cecil
Parts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because your family, your brother had was it the Buick dealership or the Kaiser?
Chrysler.
Kaiser. Chrysler. Chrysler?
Yeah. In Plymouth.
And Plymouth.
Yeah. And what?
Go ahead.
Okay. Let's talk now about some of the recollections of the boat regattas. Do you remember the regattas that were out there at the lake? Because I think your brother was quite involved in them, wasn't he?
Oh yes, anything that moved fast, Cecil had to be in it. And he was one of the ones that every year he was. I don't remember who won what, and I don't remember too many of the people that were racing. Pate had a boat too. He was another mechanic here.
Uh-huh.
But I don't remember the others.
Did Mims have a boat?
Who?
Mims?
Well, now this was before Mims, is quite a ways before Mims came.
Okay. So it could have been the Guy Sharp era, but Guy Sharp didn't have a boat.
Well, he had all kinds of boats then, but he never did put one in the regatta that I remember.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, they always collected on the dam. You couldn't charge, but you could donate. And they always had a couple of people standing on the dam with their hands out to get donations to help put on the regatta.
Describe a regatta to us. What did that look like?
The race?
It was races.
Well, they left about where the ducks are, I guess, and went around the butte and back.
Okay. And seeing who could race the fastest.
Don't we have a picture of the race?
Uh-huh.
Them coming in on
Right.
one.
And then Cecil also raced, wasn't it? Didn't he race Model Ts or some kind of a?
Oh, I think that was. I don't even remember. They had some races, but they would go around it, like they'd go up to Kachia and come across and come back in, I think, and see which one could make the best time or something. They wasn't running races as you think of a race.
Right. It was more like a cross-country race where they would take their cars and go
Yeah.
around on dirt roads again. So.
And he had one of, he had to have that airplane right away as soon as
So he could. But he couldn't. He didn't race it, did he?
Huh?
He didn't race the airplane. What what do you remember that when you and Bob decided to move down here, to move back from Albuquerque, what made the town livable for
What
you?
made it what?
Livable? Why did you like it here? You had family here, but
We liked the people and we liked to hunt and fish.
and did you hunt too?
Oh, yes. I carried a gun for 20 years. Dr. Smith gave me his gun because he had 3 sons and he didn't want to show partiality to the sons, so he gave me his gun. And I carried it for 20 years, but I never shot at a deer. I didn't want to. I didn't tell them that, but I didn't want to kill the ones that were beautiful. I walked up on them when Bob had killed them, but I never.
Was it a 30-06, or what kind of a gun did Dr. Smith give you?
I don't remember. It was his hunting gun that he was very proud of, but I don't remember.
And Dr. Smith was your father-in-law. That was Bob's. And was Dr. Smith the doctor in Las Cruces, a medical doctor?
Monsieur Park.
Okay. Where was the first cemetery? We talked about the cemetery that was out at the lake. Where was the first cemetery here?
Right up here on the hill.
And that would be about on
1st and 2nd Streets.
uh-huh.
1st and 2nd, and maybe 3rd. But that would be quite a ways. It would be 4 or 5 blocks in from State Street. I can't talk with that name.
Now, what I recollect is you showed me a picture one time of when your mother passed away, and she's buried at the cemetery there on Cedar and 9th. When did they start using that cemetery over there on Cedar and 9th?
Well, she was one of the first who was buried there, and that was in 26. So I'd say 23 or 4. We were, Ruby and I grew up together. Ruby Bixby and I grew up together. That was Ada's sister, my brother's wife's sister, kind of kinfolks. And we sat on the bank and watched them dig those graves and move the graves up to the other cemetery.
When they moved everything over to the one on Cedar.
Yeah. Our folks didn't know that we were being went with.
What do you recollect about that? Were there were there pine boxes, or?
There would be in pine boxes. That's the only thing that we ever saw. You didn't see the caskets or anything, and we weren't that close. But that cemetery sure bothered us a lot. Then you could go to the show, for 10 cents, and it was perfectly safe for the kids to be out on the streets till 9 o'clock, and Ruby and I'd go to the show, and then I had to go further on the other side of the cemetery with her, because she had to go by the graveyard in the dark, and she's afraid. And then one would run one way and the other to get home.
Now, where did you go to the movie theater?
Well, it's on Main Street. It's in the middle of the block, where Bill Bueller's office is then. Well, it's where I don't get out enough to know anymore where the business is still there. Lucchini's had it.
Still does.
They're still there, okay? That was the theater at that time. It was just a straight floor. It wasn't, and they had dances in there too. And in the front of it, they had a sweet shop.
And who ran the sweet shop?
I don't remember. Somebody from Magdalena, though, I think, and the Growens or something like that. It wasn't Grogan, it was Growens or something like that that had the sweet shop. Now, whether they had it all the time, I don't know.
But you do remember they had a sweet shop in front of the movie.